Greetings there, Tubaneros. You know, we toss around the word imperialist to typify an aggressor using fraud, intimidation, and overt brute force, even atrocity, to ride roughshod over other nations and peoples, to rule them for his own advantage and take possession of their resources, their finances, their property, and very often, their very persons, even claiming their hearts, minds, and souls through ideological extensions of conquest and control. Well, this is all very true. However, merely calling someone names will not help you understand how aggressive conquering powers rationalize their behavior to those they conquer and exploit or to themselves. Because most usually, they do not see themselves as the bad guys of the story. Some empires, such as Attila the Huns or the Third Reich or Japan, are openly brutal, aggressive, exploitative, purposely bringing murder and rapine in their wake as conscious instruments of government. They degrade their subjects as biologically and morally inferior to the point of extermination, if need be, starving, shooting, and working them to death. In the West, however, with the rise of the Enlightenment and liberal secular democratic values, imperialists have had to work harder to justify aggression and conquest. They do the same things, mind you, but they can't call them that. They can no longer say openly to you, "You have it, I want it, give it to me or I'll kill you and take it." No, modern empires conquer, loot, and kill with the best of intentions. That's why I call this little video How to Be a Good Imperialist. Good not only in the sense of being a thorough imperialist, but one who must morally justify conquest and control to his subjects and to himself. First, you must always select a weaker target to exemplify your might and main. You do not want to pick one or on someone your own size. Your grandeur and strength are not magnified taking on someone who can hurt you back. So your target is selected precisely because of the disproportionate balance of power between it and yourself. Your forces must invade Libya or the Dominican Republic, Afghanistan, or Serbia. If they are not hopelessly outgunned, if they still retain some defensive capacity like Syria, Iran, Cuba, or North Korea, you must seek to destabilize them by fomenting division, dissent, and civil war, or weaken them with sanctions and embargoes, to the point where they willingly concede your might and glory, or become too weak to resist. Here a good imperialist can also mix diplomacy. By making the most of your good intentions, you can hold out carrots of self-interest to your target, as well as sticks of obedience. Get him to disarm himself by offers of subsidy and trade, as with Libya. Then, when your target has been suckered along long enough, then you find your moral, ethical, and lawful reasons to lower the boom you had in mind all along. This brings us to a second major theme. You must always command the moral high ground, as well as overwhelming physical force. You must rob your victim not only of his sovereignty, his possessions, and his labor, but any moral claims to resistance. Your opponent must be shown to violate all the liberal, democratic, secular values that make you such a great power, with the right to take possession of the earth. And you must liberate these peoples from their wicked ways, from themselves. Like the Ottoman official in Elia Kazan's film, America, America, you are here only for the good you can do. So you gird up your battleships and bombers to end slavery in the Sudan, or liberate women from the veil and equal opportunity to the little girls of Afghanistan. You want to restore freedom and democracy to Cuba. Never mind that if Cuba had had freedom and democracy in the first place, there would be no problem now, and you did nothing to promote it when you were in control. Let's not dwell on the past now. You must end genocide in Bosnia, and Kosovo, and Darfur. First, by exaggerating the definition of the term, ignoring similar massacres carried out by fledgling democracies under your wing, and ignoring that your bombs and drones, cruise missiles, and high-tech on-ground weaponry are more capable of inflicting lethal damage than the low-intensity capabilities of your target. Related to this is another component, that of timing. You choose your battles carefully by pitting yourself against a weaker target and one that is behaving like a little bully himself who must be taught a lesson. But sometimes your target is someone who can fight you back. That's where coalitions are needed, because sometimes being a lone wolf is not enough. You have to form a pack with fellow wolves against other wolves out to slaughter your sheep. Here the United States in particular has shown itself to be not just a good empire, but a clever one. In World Wars I and II, it stayed to the side, preaching neutralism, even pacifism, until the bad imperialist had already been bloodied by 2 years of war, then stepping in to finish him off, with allies so exhausted by the struggle they were in no position to object to Uncle Sam, putting all the pieces in his own pocket. He waits until the enemy is harassed on all sides, preoccupied with invading Russia or conquering China, then, fresh and strengthened by 2 years of accumulating resources and firepower, while the enemy is exhausting his own, The mighty U.S. steps in to take victory from foe and friend alike and dictate the rules of the brave new world of freedom, justice, and human rights to follow. A century and a half ago, Rudyard Kipling wrote of the white man's burden. By white, of course, is meant the Western ruling classes. Sorry, Russia, epidermis pigmentation is enough for entry into the club. Though we can't put things so bluntly nowadays, our empire is just too good for their own good. But the inspiring tradition endures. Somebody must bring order to Mali, the rule of law to Syria, human rights to Iraq, democracy to Cuba, peace to the Congo, freedom to Kosovo, even if you have to set one half of the population against the other, or bomb them all to let God sort them out. Because what's best for you is always best for them. You are the city on the hill, the last and best hope of humanity. Uh-oh. Who's that knocking on the YouTube line? Hello? Hey, it's Ronald Reagan. You can't find a good guy no gooder than this. What's up, Gipper? What's that? My quoting your own words roused you up because you want to remind us how you stood tall and brought down the evil empire of the East by the force of America's moral strength and goodness, of which you were the public face and persona. So, you mean all that napalm in Vietnam was just wasted? And crisping every living thing in the countryside? All those military-industrial dollars were a vaster waste of public revenue that could have been better spent on the general welfare of the American people. Oh, you mean morals are like the rule of law. No good without means of enforcement. As long as you're the good guy, and the big guy, and the rich white guy, you can do as you damn well please, because good guys are allowed, and big guys do it better. And rich white guys are for whom the world and its fruits were made. Especially sharing them with friends and family at Lockheed Martin, Halliburton, Kellogg, Brown and Root, and DuPont and Dow.